to another episode of Just One More Fix. This is James. With me in this episode is Lacey.
Hey.
You can find us online at justonemorefix.com or on Twitter at justonemorefix. If you like us, head over to iTunes or to Google Play and give us a rating and a comment. In this episode, we're going to talk about travel gaming. And now, it's time to get our gaming fix.
I'm Lindsay,
I'm Austin.
And I'm Joe from PopXcast.
a podcast member of the Gonna Geek Network.
Just like the show you're listening to now.
The opinions expressed are those of each individual host.
Check out all the other podcasts at GonnaGeekNetwork.com.
And get ready because geekiness begins in
3,
2,
1.
Welcome to Just One More Fix. As you heard, we are going to talk about travel gaming. But before we do that, a couple quick announcements. First, you might have already noticed, or you might be noticing, that our sound is a little bit different today, and that's because we are testing out our travel rig. So we are recording here at the sunny, sandy beaches of Florida right now as we are on vacation.
Very much different from the dim, drab winter that is Indiana.
This is true, which is sort of what prompted our topic for today. But we wanted to test out our travel rig, I guess, because as you know, we've heard we're going to be doing some live recording at some gaming stores in the Midwest, as well as testing this rig out for Gen Con when Gen Con time comes again this year, which we are all super excited and counting down. So, yeah, I guess just if you notice a difference in the sound quality, it's because we're not in our normal hilltop studio with the best soundproofing of isolation that we have. So, second quick announcement is the voting is all done, and we are going to be reviewing Fate of Freeport in the next couple weeks. That'll probably happen once we get back home and record a quick review of that one, which is, we've had quite a bit of fun with that game, so it should be a good review. What?
Nothing. I am a jerk.
Why?
I was just thinking, yeah, so you could just go home and throw out all of your D&D books right now, because for less than the cost of a single book, you can have the Fate Core Manual and the Fate of Freeport. And probably Fate Accelerated, too.
Yeah.
And a set of fudge dice. I mean, if you're talking brand new, like Barnes & Noble shiny cost and not like I bought it off of Amazon cost. But even if they bought it off of Amazon cost, you could probably get definitely the Fate Freeport book and probably
Fate Core.
Fate Core.
It might be close. I don't know. I have to do the math on that one. We'll see. I don't know. All right. So we're just going to jump right into this travel gaming topic. So we are on vacation, as you heard a few minutes ago, I guess, or seconds ago at this point, depending on how editing goes. But we plan to do a fair amount of gaming when we travel or go on vacation, however you want to say that.
And we don't have a lot of room.
No.
We have 3 kids. We have a vehicle that seats 5, which is exactly what we have going on, with some trunk space. It's not an ample amount of room to put whatever you like. So when you're talking about packing clothes and for this particular journey, presents from people and other various sundry items, you have to really size things down. So in our case, what will fit into a bag?
Right. Bags is the first part of this, and I'm very partial about bags. I don't know. It takes me a long time to like a backpack or like a satchel or a merce, as it were, or whatever you want to call them. But I don't know. I'm funny about them, and I like to have a certain amount of functionality, but also character to them. I don't know if that makes sense or not.
It does make sense. I can distinctly remember the last backpack that I owned that I actually felt passionately about. That was probably, I don't know, 15 years ago maybe.
Right. So we'll take pictures of these and post them along with the on the website and probably in the show notes as well, so you guys can kind of see visually for what we're talking about. So I have a couple of bags that I like, but the one that I generally carry everywhere with me is a Rammstein bag, because I'm a giant Rammstein fan and they are an awesome band. And Lacey got me this.
Side note, we saw them in concert. Yeah.
True story. But it's just a canvas satchel, essentially. Like if you
It's
were
a messenger style bag.
Yeah. And it is, I'm not sure the dimensions on it, but it fits several full-size textbook style RPG books in there pretty well. That's not really what I carry mostly anymore, but it will accommodate those. And first and foremost, I've had this bag for several years, and it is super durable, and it's because it's really, really thick canvas. So
It's made in the style of like a military
Right.
bag, the way the canvas and the stitching and the fixtures on it. Do you call them fixtures when they're on a bag? I don't know. You know, the metal pieces.
Oh, the fittings and stuff. Yeah. Okay.
Whatever you would call that on a sack.
So I guess the first big concern for me is durability, because one, like I said, it takes me a long time to find a bag that I like. And when I find one that I like it to last, because I'm hard to please when it comes to backpacks and satchels and whatever. So yeah, so there's several cool companies that are out there that make things. I haven't ever had a bag of holding bag, but I hear lots of cool things about them. I've also got like a old leather teacher style bag with the big flappy briefcase style. It's like a soft briefcase that worked really well for a while that I used.
It's really good for Call of Cthulhu games.
Yeah,
It's what it's meant for. Maybe if you were doing some sort of Indiana Jones-ish
Right.
style thing, it would be good for that too.
So I guess we'll just start with mine as the example, and I'll take pictures of it and post it. But it's got several gaming patches on it. You guys know I'm a paramedic, so it has the Black Templar Apothecary patch on it. It's got a Firefly Medic patch on it. It's got an Arkham Asylum patch on it, a staff patch. What was this one? This was the Monster
Club
I think
patch?
so. We got it at Gen Con. It's got a Plague Doctor mask with
Red Cross on it.
a Red Cross with an army helmet and gas mask, which I thought is a lot of things that I enjoy. So it's all kind of combined into one. All right, so the first thing that we're going to talk about in our bag is when gaming goes wrong, and when you don't have players there that are missing, or people are running late, or whatever it is. So we always throw a board game or two in with ours. There are not many board games that are ideal when you talk about how much real estate they take up in a bag.
Very true. So I think we're just going to kind of tackle this based on age range, right? So tiny kids game that we found by Game Salute called Goblins Drool and Fairies Rule.
Mm-hmm.
I made up the and. That's not actually in there, but it feels like it should be.
Right. It's super easy. It's the artwork is very cool and fun.
It's a rhyming game, but it can also get a bit more complex in strategy. So it's geared, it says ages 7+. We have played this with this couple of 6-year-olds, and I think that's probably a pretty good guesstimate there. Duration is 15 minutes, it's pretty well spot on, and it can be 1 to 4 players.
And it is really hard to win.
Yeah. The artwork is very engaging. And that was one of the main things that kind of drew me to this in the first place. But I will say playing this, no adult wants to play a game with kids when that game sucks, right? So like that's my problem with Candyland. Like you play it
Chutes
one
and
time,
ladders.
you're like, I don't
Right.
ever want to play this game. This
is
game
a
is not
terrible
like
game.
that. This
No.
is a game that you actually have fun playing with your kids, and it's just silly nonsense rhyming.
Right. There's another one by the same company that's the same exact size box called Sleeping Queens that is very similar in a lot of
It's by an
ways.
entirely different
Oh,
company.
is it by a different company?
And it's not exactly the same box
It's
size.
very close.
It's like this.
I
You
don't
cut that. Yeah, because
We'll
this is
measure
a
it when we get
square
home.
and that is a rectangle.
compare when we get home, but I think it is close. But Sleeping Queens is another good one.
That one is by Game Right Games.
That one's not by Gamer.
This one is by Game Salute.
Oh, my bad.
This is the same people that make Black Orchestra. Not a portable game.
No, definitely not. Awesome game though. So what do you think? Is Oregon Attack next?
Yeah,
In
I
age?
think that's
so
fair.
Oregon Attack, we like this game because
We're doctory people.
yeah, we work in medicine and stuff, and it's kind of silly. It's a card game, but you attack each other. Everybody has organs, and then you attack each other. There's also a silly cartoon that goes along with it, which is what sparked the game called Awkward Yeti, which is a lot of fun. But it's just a card game, and if you really wanted to conserve even more space, you could just take it down to where you would just have the cards. But it's the size of
Well, it's the size of a book. In fact, the box looks like
a book,
a book.
right?
And it's hollowed out, and there's a couple decks of cards, and there are all the various to sundry organs. You get a starting set of organs, and each player attacks the other player's organs with a lovely handful of diseases that they have that are able to infect specific groups.
And then once your organs, last person with an organ standing is the winner.
And I don't know how, based on that description, you would not want to play that game. It's
Super
amazing.
easy, super simple. It plays pretty quick.
The cartoons are hilarious. So even if you are not sure about the game or you may never want to get it, if you look up the Awkward Yeti, his cartoons are very enjoyable. He has the brain versus heart thing that even if you're not really into the medical field, just the anxiety, stress, methodical brain versus the, complete wee of the heart is a lot of fun.
And then the stomach gets involved sometimes too, which is fun. So, but it's 2 to 6 players, ages 10 and up, and the gameplay doesn't change a whole lot from when you have more players or less players. It's still a super fun game. Like any card game, it moves pretty quick.
And even though it says ages 10 and up, if you can't read the cards, there's a picture of the organ that afflicts on the card, and you can see all the organs. So, like our 6 and 7-year-old play the game after we did it a couple times with them, and they have a really great time killing each other.
Next up is one of our favorite ones, is Tiny Epic Galaxies, and really any of the Tiny Epic games.
I think this one should be next.
Oh, I've already done this one. It's okay.
They're really kind of about in the same level of strategy.
Right. So all the Tiny Epic games that we've played are pretty all right. We've played Tiny Epic Galaxies, Tiny Epic Western, and we looked at Tiny Epic Kingdoms, I think, but we just didn't end up picking it up. But
we probably will because we enjoy the other two.
Now, they are drastically different. It's a lot of times when you see small games, it's not a great game. It's just a small box, right? But these are complete games with the same level of complexity of games like Catan or Ticket to Ride, all those kind of serious games. In the case of
Tiny Epic Western, it may be the most complexity I've played in a game in quite some time. There's a lot to hold in your head there.
And so they all 3 of them come in a really small box. It's the size of, what's the big note card? 5x7, I think. 5x6. 4x6. I don't know. It's a small box.
I have no idea.
But it fits easily in a bag, and they are a pretty big game. It's like a real, actual strategy board game.
They basically just eliminated all the extra space.
Right.
They, the rules sheet is in there, but there's the frequently asked questions or whatever rules reference is actually printed into the box. The other box is a dice tray. Like everything is
integrated into the design.
Right. And there's no board.
Yeah, the cards are usually the board, and that kind of assembles together. So all of the tiny Epic games are by Gamelin Games, and we'll link to all these in the show notes. But it goes really the gameplay for these, I just can't say it enough. They're like a full regular board game.
Yeah,
it's
almost like Tiny Epic Games is the perfect description of what's happening there.
The last one, and probably the smallest one I think that you're ever going to find, is called Iota by Game Right Games, and this is kind of like a card game but tile placement game at the same time.
It's like if Scrabble and Set had a love child.
Right.
It would be this game.
And it's very simple, straightforward. It plays pretty quickly. A lot of strategy involved with it, but it is about the size of 3 inches by 3 inches. I mean, it's teeny tiny, so this fits in about anything. If this won't fit in your gaming bag, then you probably have too much stuff in there to begin with. So
if you have room for 2 packs of gum,
right.
room for this game.
All right, so that is for the most part the board games that we carry with us just in case gaming doesn't happen. So I think the first thing on everybody's gaming bag has to be dice. So
dice is a difficult spot when you're traveling in a group because everybody wants to bring their own dice.
Right. So we streamline it down. So there in our dice bag there is, I think, 2 full sets of polyhedrals, 20, 12, percentile, 8, 6, and 4s. And then we have, I think, 4 or 5 sets of fate dice in here. There are 2 different sets of D10s, each of them having 10, and several.
And 2 different colors of sets of D6s because we've played some Pip style games now.
Infestation and stuff, right. So there's several D6s. I think there's 12 green ones, and then I think 6 or 8 of the purple ones that you threw in here. And then I have a couple specialty dice that I take everywhere with me, like my Cthulhu die. I've got my 2 Bluebeard's Bride dice in there. I've got my 2 Spirit of 77 D6s in there. I've got 2 Yellow Sign dice in there.
Needless to say, we could certainly trim it down by like 50%. But like I said, dice are one of those things that we're all just, weirdly connected to.
True. I will say you need to find a good dice bag, though, that is sturdy, that isn't going to fall open. The Crown Royal bags will always do. But as time has gone by, there are people that have stitched dice bags together in a much cooler way to where they stay open, that I'm very, very partial to. So I'm not sure who makes these style, but
And also, I don't drink Crown Royal, so it
True.
doesn't say
True
anything
that.
about my personality other than I was too cheap to purchase a dice bag. So, second piece of essential gaming equipment that goes with you everywhere.
I think clipboard, but it's a double duty thing. It's one of the ones that opens up and it's fancy dancy.
I really want to make fun of you, except we went to game somewhere the other day and our friends showed up to game at someone else's house and each of them had their own clipboard with like a pencil and paper and like their dice inside. And
Right. So it's just the plastic style that opens up, and you could go with the metal one if you wanted to, but they're nicer and more expensive. But, so in here is scratch paper, as everyone needs when you're playing or running games. We have several character sheets for Infestation. We have all the character sheets and game aids for Pilion. I have all the Cthulhu Confidential stuff for the Vivian Sinclair series in here. I mean, there's probably 50, 60 sheets of paper in here, different character sheets and game aids and everything else for all the different games that we might be running, including blank character sheets.
yeah, just that's the big one for me for whatever you're going to be running. Have a handful of blank character sheets for whatever it is.
For whatever systems
or
you
if you
use.
really want to be up and off the ground quickly with little added weight
Right.
pre-gens.
Pre-gens, right. So, and along inside there are pens and pencils and all that kind of stuff. But this is...
I would advocate for some colored pencils as well. They don't
right
take
on.
up as much space. They would totally fit in there. And if you have an artist in your group who can
Right.
draw more than a stick man, then I think they would appreciate that.
Right on. But like I said, it's nice because it's not super heavy and it's durable, and it will keep your character sheets from getting all crumpled and destroyed. And I don't know, I'm just...
Lost.
that. It keeps them all together. But because I do a fair amount of traveling back and forth to work because
Plus, nothing says I'm a nerd like carrying around a clipboard in your bag.
True story. But I do a fair amount of traveling back and forth to work because I work 24-hour shifts, and I take character sheets and game aids with me to work as I try to figure out what I'm going to do with my games. And this specific style of clipboard has never let me down. It keeps everything together and organized. Nothing's getting crumpled up and destroyed. It just works very, very well for that. So,
Plus, we all know you can carry around a clipboard at work and pretend to be doing something. People just go ahead and go along with that.
I don't have to pretend like I'm doing something at work if I'm actually not. So that's pretty cool. Most of the time, I'm not doing anything actually. So, all right. After that, I think we come to gaming books. So I'm just going to list just a few to give you a kind of a idea of what our bag is capable of carrying, I guess. If you hear the rattling around, it's because we're actually getting things out of the bag as we speak. So I have Cthulhu Confidential by Pelgrane Press. Didn't really plan on running it this week, but I just wanted to bring it with me just in case I had spare time to pick it up and read it, because I don't like to read full-size books on my tablet because my tablet is not the right size for that. So we'll talk about that here in a little bit. So after that is, what is this?
What else is it?
Oh, I didn't realize this was in here. I have a couple Penny Dreadful graphic novels. I guess if you were bored and wanted to read on your own, you could. I didn't realize those were in there, but there they are.
I brought Sandman Volume 2, Doll's House,
Right on.
and finished it, which I'm kind of sad about.
Along with that, we have the Infestation book, RPG. We have,
So now you're into the smaller size,
right, these are digest sized books. Fate Accelerator, we have 2 copies of that. And then we also have Omega Zone,
which also comes with a deck of cards.
deck of cards that go in there. Now, in addition to that, I don't carry a lot of gaming books anymore because ebooks are so handy now. I have a regular old Kindle Fire. I think it's a 7-inch Kindle, which is the same size as all these books that we use. So whether it's Lamentations of the Flame Princess or it's, maybe that one's a 6-inch one. No, it's 7. It's 7. So anyway,
Books are 8-inch long.
I digress, but whether or not I'm playing any game that is in that digest size, I just prefer to use that tablet for it because I don't have to carry 8,000 books with me. And then we play a lot of Power by the Apocalypse games, and the game aids are so good for those games usually that I don't actually need the main book anymore. I just have it there as a reference if I have to fall back on something that's in the book. Most of what I need is already laid out in front of me on the game aids. So has streamlined down what I carry a lot. Now, I didn't used to like using a tablet, but as time has gone by, I've gotten more and more used to it. When I read them, I prefer it on tablet, I think, but when I need to reference something, I'd much rather have the actual physical book.
I think I'd be okay if I bothered to write down page numbers things were on, but then I still can't like easily see that without the piece of paper. You know what I'm saying? Because you can add bookmarks on the PDF reader, but you can't see them all visually like you can when you have a book full of bookmarks or tabs or whatever.
A lot of people talk about using that Control F to search the actual PDF for the word you need.
Yeah, that's a cool thing, but I still have to like take the time instead of just being like, boom, I know where it's at.
Oh, right. Yeah, in that case. But yeah, so I guess depending on how you use it, it could work pretty well or not. But
I'm so analog.
I have found that at least for the Power by the Apocalypse games, I much rather have the tablet for it than anything else. But that's because of the game aids. So take that for what that's worth, I guess. Yeah. All right. In addition to that, I have my journal that I use for our podcast and most of our gaming stuff, which is just One More Fix. It's a unlined journal, and I make all kinds of notes in there and do whatever, but it's my gaming log for inspiration and stuff for the podcast and whatever that goes in there. And then I have a Windows Surface tablet, which I use for pictures for the games and that kind of stuff. Sometimes I use sounds off of it, which I also have a Bluetooth speaker that kind of gets hooked to the outside of the bag that I take with us for like theme music or ambiance music or whatever you want to use that for. And that is everything from the main compartment of the bag. Now, there's a couple extra cool things that I take that make the biggest difference.
One of our favorite little carry-along things is the note board. So you guys have probably, if you've been to conventions, have seen these, but it is the size of a stack of note cards and comes with a dry erase pen that's got, like the little eraser thing on the other side. And when you fold it out, it is a laminated set of basically index cards, blank side, that are 35 inches by 15 inches. Mm-hmm. And then when you flip it over, the note cards have hex squares on them. I guess it's kind of a
hex squares. Actually, it has
hex
both, though.
Blocks?
That's actually what it would be. They are hex squares because it does have 1 inch squares, and it has a hex grid as well.
Okay.
So those are now dubbed from here on out hex squares. Very good. So this is super cool, and I like it. I use it for all kinds of stuff. Whether you're doing like terrain, you can move your menus around on it because it has the hex squares on the back, as you said. But also, I've used it for Fate for battle zones. I've used it for Fate for instead of having a stack of note cards, which usually is in my bag, but doesn't happen to be in there now. But each on the blank side, you have the blank sides of the note cards, and you could just as easily fill those in there. I will say, though,
I like that you can lay it out and then fold over one line of it, and then you have like kind of a map section and then like a side for notes.
Right. I will say that the pen that comes with it, while it works pretty well, the eraser that's on there doesn't work very well as time goes by. It just fills up with dust from dry erasing. And I prefer to have several different colors for my dry erase boards. So I have what is this? Black, red, green, and blue that goes with us. They're the Fine Point Expo dry erase markers, and they work just fine.
The nearly primary colors. Yeah. Nobody really likes yellow anyway.
No, plus that yellow on white as a dry erase, you can't see it.
Practical. So green has replaced it.
It doesn't work. So
it's like where pollution replaced pestilence. It's the exact same thing.
No more yellow. But having the additional colors makes it work a whole lot better. You can draw different hazards or whatever. This is terrain. This is a bad guy. However you want to do it. It just makes things a whole lot better. It makes it so much more functional than just having one color.
It's another good thing about green, right? When you color in a hex green, you get a much different feel than when you color it in yellow.
Okay. Why would that be? Green and yellow? I don't...
No, nobody wants to go explore the yellow-looking puddle on the thing, but green just looks like a bush or a tree.
I guess, maybe.
There's no yellow terrain that anybody wants to go anywhere near. You can't even think of anything yellow right now. Sand, maybe. It's more brown, really.
I don't know. Maybe. We'll think about it. We'll see. I might come up with something. Right on. So I think that is pretty much all that goes in our travel bag. And like I said, this goes everywhere. And the books that go in it for gaming obviously change depending on what games we have, what games we're playing, what is on the agenda. Your
gaming bag fails?
Why?
You forgot to say pencil. You didn't bring a pencil.
Oh, yes, I did. Actually, in the very front pocket.
You don't have your number 2 pencil.
Wrong.
Fail.
Ready? That's count those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pencils and a multicolored pen.
Hey, if you don't record it, you didn't do it.
So I have a pen that is the black, blue, green and red. And
The
I have
multicolored click pins.
yes, and I have 6 pencils. So I think I passed muster, all right? I'm just saying. So that's pretty much all that goes into my gaming bag. Now, I will say I don't want to carry a giant bag, which is why mine is pretty streamed down. So if you're playing games like Pathfinder or D&D that require a lot of books, you're going to have to scale up the size of your bag, which bears mentioning the bag that Lacey uses for school is a Swiss gear bag that I got when I was an operations manager. And
You really we could go over what all is fitting in there right now.
yeah, I think
if
we
you
should.
Want, but
because let me
I'll just give you a quick
hang on.
rundown. It's boring stuff, but
we got our stuff together to come here. I put together the gaming bag and we left. And then Lacey put together her bag to bring because she's still working on school stuff. And I realized that bag put every other bag that I've ever carried books in to shame in the most obscene kind of a way.
all right.
Drum roll, right?
So I had, okay, don't make fun of me, but it was a long road trip. So I did pack some lotion because those things go together.
It puts the lotion on the skin where it gets the
a
hose
car
again.
charger for my phone.
Right. Oh, that's something else I didn't mention. There are chargers in there. I have a cell phone charger. I have a Bluetooth speaker charger that I carry, and the charger for my tablet. So,
A plastic bag to put garbage in. I also have a laptop computer, the charger for the laptop computer, my stethoscope, an otoscope, which comes in a case that also has exchangeable heads for the ophthalmoscope as well.
what's the ophthalmoscope?
That's, the light people use to look in your eyes, and the otoscope is the light they use to look in your ears.
Okay.
I have a clinical advisor textbook, which is the size of 2 completely normal size textbooks. Then I also have a physical assessment textbook. I have a folder full of lots of random papers having to do with school. And what else is there? Right. Oh, Sandman Volume 2. We discussed that already. My only bit of exciting reading because I couldn't fit any other books. No, that's not true. I also have The Power of Myth in here.
Oh, the
Joseph Campbell and Bill Moyer, I believe. It's like an interview between the two. Interesting thing if you have a minute. I have to unzip all the pockets. There's like 12 pockets on this thing. I have my River Songs diary notebook for gaming notes and things. Currently, it's got the notes on the Dread game that I ran that I'm trying to get translated for everybody on the Patreon, as well as some other snippets of ideas for other games. And then I have a stack of index cards to make notes with, 12 different colored fine point markers, a green and yellow highlighter, a pen, 2 pencils, my regular everyday journal that I keep my calendar, notes, appointments, and other gaming inspiration ideas in, and a partridge in a pear tree.
Very cool. So it's way overloaded. I think to say overloaded is, an understatement. So.
Also, I exaggerated a little bit. It's only got 8 zip pockets and 2 mesh pockets for a total of 10, not 12.
All right on. Well, do you have anything else to say about travel gaming other than people should do it and not leave one of their biggest hobbies, behind whenever they go places? They should structure things so that if you have gamers that are going with you, that you can take that stuff with you to continue to do what you love, essentially, right?
Yeah, and I think that you should find a spot just in your regular everyday bag or in the, what do they call those things in your car? Like your console or your glove compartment or whatever, to put just a small game that's easy to break out and play. Like, think about all the time you sit, just at a restaurant waiting for service or waiting for food. People are just, playing on their phones or doing whatever, talking about the freaking weather. So instead of having benign conversation or ignoring each other, you guys could be playing a fun game together.
Right. Well, that's it. I can't remember what it is, but there's a promotion that happens where, in an effort to grow the gaming community, they tell people to go out in public somewhere and play a game for a day. And what usually happens is people come up to you and say, "Oh, what is this that you're playing?" And then it gives you a chance to advertise the game to them or the hobby or whatever it is. So it's just another way, one, to entertain yourself and do something you already enjoy, but also try to get some more exposure out there, because the more people that come into gaming means more games will be produced and ideally better games and more fun things, not
Right.
that will more innovative ideas, and designers that are already successful will get more funding to make even better games, as time goes by.
GameRad actually has a game, what is it, Ninja Cards?
Yeah, that was really cool.
You have to be a little bit more of a social creature for that. I thought the idea was cool, and I bought the cards, and then I realized I was going to have to talk to strangers to use some of them, and I was kind of like, I guess I'm out, guys.
Right.
But it is a very cool idea, so if you're into that.
All right, right on. So this has been kind of a quick one. So we just wanted to make sure that we, kept up with our release schedule going on vacation and whatnot, but as well test out our equipment and make sure that our rig is going to work for our mobile episodes that we're going to be recording. And I think it looks like it is because the sound coming through my ears is pretty all right. So hopefully this will work and we can continue as planned for some of the projects that we have for the future. So, as you know, we're a member of the Gunna Geek Network, and a quick plug for In Defense of episode 42, Verily and Merrily. This is going to be awesome. Huzzah to thee, good lords and ladies. This month, we're joined by the team behind the scripting, casting, production, and performance of the New York Ren Fair to discuss the immersive experience of Ren Fairs. So that sounds like it should be pretty fun. That's right up a lot of our people's alleys, So
That's cool.
It might be interesting to see how they put stories together for the Ren Fair, because a lot of Ren Fairs have a story that runs through the entire fair, so that all the events are kind of tied together. So it might be interesting to check that out, because it might give you some ideas for how to put stories together in a different way for the games that you run and that kind of stuff. So check that out. It's In Defense of episode 42, Verily and Merrily, and that one will be linked at GunnaGeekNetwork.com. So I think that'll do it for us. We are going to get back to our sunny and sandy beaches, so hopefully the winter isn't being too terrible to you, to everyone else that's back north dealing with the winter. As everyone knows, winter's already here. So,
Nah.
all right, Ron. So as always, you
The
guys
snow's
can.
not sticking yet, so it's not winter.
Fair enough. That's true. No snow yet, at least for us. But I know
But we had some. Wasn't sticking. That's the
Right.
key.
Cameron set up in Minot. They already had snow. So
Well,
you go up to Fargo in Minot, North Dakota. I think there's snow all the time. So
there was a movie. I remember lots of snow in it.
I told him to stay away from the wood chippers when he got up there. But anyway, so I think that'll do it for us. As always, you guys can support us by going to our Patreon at patreon.com/justonemorefix, which is linked on our webpage as well, to get access to our audio raw feeds, our pre and post shows, as well as some additional gaming materials and that kind of stuff. You can also follow us on Twitter at JustOneMoreFix, or all that stuff is linked at JustOneMoreFix.com. But the best way you can support us is by going and sharing us with someone who games, or maybe even doesn't game right now, but is thinking about it and is on the fence and will listen to our awesome advice and get them into the awesome side of gaming. You can also support us by going to wherever it is that you find us at and giving us a review and a comment. And I think that'll do it for us. And we will see you guys next week.
Thanks for listening. This has been another episode of Just One More Fix. Music has been provided by Kevin MacLeod. You can find him at incompetech.com. You can find us at justonemorefix.com and follow us on Twitter at JustOneMoreFix.